Hello, Jonathan. How are you?
Everyone. No, perfect. No.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, all perfect.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, we'll just get this underway as quick as possible because I know your time is quite valuable. Okay, I just have a short script that I'm going to read to you just to give you some background information about this interview, and then we'll just crack into the questions. So, data. This interview is being recorded for data collection purposes. The information you provide throughout this interview will be stored internally and not made publicly available. The information and data gathered from this interview will be used for the development of the jumpAgrade platform. And the purpose of this interview is for me to gain a greater understanding of you as a primary user of the jumpAgrade platform. This interview should take no longer than 30 to 40 minutes and will consist of questions relating to you as a person, you as a teacher, your relationship with technology, your use of the platform, your objectives and your pain points. I have a script of questions to ask, however, they're not strict and they're more of a guideline for me. I may divert from this script if I think something is worth exploring a bit more in detail. At times throughout the interview, I may take some notes, however, this is being recorded for me to analyse later, so my main objective here is to ask you some questions and just listen as much as possible to your answers. Even though this is an interview, it's completely informal and it's just more of a conversation, so try not to overthink your answers too much. What is important for me, however, is that you try to avoid answering questions in a rose-tinted manner and be as honest as possible. So, for example, when speaking about how you would use a specific product or technology, try to speak about what you would actually do as opposed to what you would do. And finally, if there's anything that you're not comfortable answering or talking about, we can just simply move on to another question. Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Okay, so first group of questions is just background and ethnography. So just simply, what's your full name and your current occupation?
Jonathan Reynolds, teacher, mainstream.
Okay, and do you work full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
Full-time teacher. And what school are you currently in?
Reynolds Grange Community School.
Oh, okay, great. And how long have you been in that job?
10 years.
10 years. And what subjects do you teach there?
Biology, chemistry, and science.
Okay. And what were your original qualifications and where did you do your third level education?
Qualifications would be through University of Limerick. It would be biological science and concurrent teacher education in ag science, biology, and chemistry, and junior cycle science. We were recognised. We were the last cohort to come out with 3 senior cycle subjects at the time before they cut down the modules. Before it's only 2 subjects.
Okay, fair enough. And where did you always work in Ramsgrange, or did you have?
Worked in VC in Westmeath for a year and worked in a private school in Yates College in Waterford for a year before I went over to Wexford.
Okay,
Ramsgrange.
Fair enough. And why did you want to become a teacher back before you? We'll say before you went to college. Did you know you wanted to become a teacher, or was it something always in the back of your mind?
Yeah, but also from a young age, and we come from a family of teachers as well, so kind of used to it because we would be very into the kind of nurturing and looking at, obviously, from young kids up to senior cycle. Like we had a good mixture there, so we're kind of exposed to it at a young age, and it's kind of something. It's kind of a job that whether it is for you, if it's not for you, and through like with all the teaching practices and so on, that it's like this seems to be a good fit, like certain personality that you have, like if you have a certain way with people and the kids and so on like that, and tried a good classroom environment and all of that, and notice, and sure it did work out, and I'm still at it,
Okay, yes.
So just watching from them from a young age and all that, and school visits and so on. So yeah, that's the right profession for me.
Okay. And outside the teaching, do you have any hobbies or interests?
So I would be involved in things like from science point of view, be kind of environmental science, so like anything from green schools, like coaching, say basketball and soccer, anything like that. Work with ASD as well, so setting up like chess clubs and things like that to set up to help with cognitive function and social interactions and so on. Work with behavioural support, doing a master's in leadership and management as well. So we kind of always consistently being busy with different kind of things, different kind of all sort from sports to even continuous professional. CPD is a big thing as well. I do a lot of it like every year during the summer and during the school year as well.
What is CPD, if you don't mind explaining a bit
Continued
further?
professional development and professional learning community. So just getting like upskilling in different areas. It could be science, it could be something to do with anything else I'm involved in extracurricular. It could be curricular based. So it could be the junior cycle, senior cycle, in school, out of school. It could be 20-hour courses on special education needs, 20 hours in education law. All these different types of courses you could do to upskill and obviously for the CV as well. Like, but obviously to
Okay.
help get a bit of idea teaching, especially with the leadership and management masters as well. It's good having different modules done in education law and this, that, and the other.
Yes, I
Uh,
understand. Okay, Jonathan, could you kind of describe what your typical weekday looks like? I know that it's obviously much different now with COVID, but could you think back before the pandemic when you've been just teaching normally, what would a typical weekday have looked like for you?
So it would be in early because I would be involved with the wellbeing committee. So what I would be doing, I would be in school early 10 past 8 when school the kids coming in. So we would be setting up things like breakfast clubs and so on because I am in a deaf school. So a lot of kids we come from disadvantaged backgrounds, and then there's kids that aren't. So it's a wide range of things. We have with all the different clubs that we have in the school like that. I'll be like supervising them, working with the kids, walking around and kind of setting them up for the day, have them set up for good humor. So it'll be a lot of it kind of behavioural support and so on, and all for social emotion and like that, and just get them set up. Like, some of them will be coming in bad mood, so on, and there are no place for learning until they're kind of settled in. And so that'll be good, say from 10 past, 8:15, and maybe get some training in the mornings if there's a match on or something like that. So there's so much. See, we come for school, there's so much extracurricular activity, so much sport and everything going on. So morning, noon, and evening like that, we're consistently that, like
Yes,
training and whatever club as it is. Like, and then there's teaching from the 9 to 11, 20 past 11 to lunchtime, and then go on the mainstream classes. But it's kind of a hectic life, from 9 to 4, from 8 to 4, 8 to 5. And then sure, I do run the even study as well in the school. So I could be in the school from 8 to 6 most of the days, like
yes,
from under the
yes.
third. Like
But
there. So it's always something very energetic school.
so by the
But
sound of
always,
things, there isn't kind of any typical day for you. It can quite vary a lot, does it?
every day, yeah, it could be very different. It could be something different every day, but it would be kind of same. It was always be energetic. It could be always something going on. Might be something basketball one day. It could be something science the following day, and so on. There's always something at a particular time, but at least it'll be scheduled. It was a kind of a structure, like, but it'd be different things, different days, like
Okay,
whether it's science based, culture based, or extracurricular.
okay. And then when you're at home and you're in your own kind of spare time, is there anything that you like to do yourself to unwind or anything like that?
Because apart from like training myself, like, so I would go, say, probably one day spinning, running, another day uh, something else another day. But then, of course, college work comes in as well because I was face to face college before I started the thesis. Like, that's been going on for the last 2.5 years, and I'm doing it through the summer through UL, like, so as well. So that will take up the summer as well. So I'll be
Yes,
going kind of mainstream. So be kind of always consistently busy with something, like either studying
yes,
or teaching based. Oh, correct. I used to correct exams during the summer as well, the junior cycle. So that would be kind of July, like, even at that outside, there's still the structure.
yeah. So you keep yourself very busy the whole time, really, by the sound of
Yeah,
things.
like that, because I'd go crazy otherwise.
And okay, just to follow up on that, since the pandemic started and the schools did close, did you find you had a bit more time on your hands then to take on even more, or what was your kind of
The
reaction
thing
to
is,
that?
the the master started kicking off in March, so I know it was like from that side, I was it was like getting worse. It was kind of like all ethics applications. It was all about getting recruiting schools to participate in your study and so on. Like, that was getting hectic, and then trying to adjust to online learning because, like, school of Gars were rural. Not all kids would have, say, perfect Wi-Fi, and they're all from different backgrounds and different abilities. And it was just mayhem at the beginning because we wouldn't be like a typical city school, private school, where they're all set up perfectly and use Microsoft Teams or use and Zoom very willy nilly. Like something like Zoom, we only started using pretty much consistently, say, within the last 5 weeks or 6 weeks. The second half of the lot, like, so it was a lot of touch and waters. Like, is this good? Is that good? And at the beginning, because our school rely on a lot of kind of face to face interaction, particularly with our kids. Like,
Yeah, no,
so
fair
it
enough.
was a bit of a trying to get to kind of new schedule.
Okay, and just before I go any further, because I'm I was told that the teachers that I was being given from jumpAgrade come from different backgrounds. Some of them aren't even tutoring anymore with jumpAgrade. Are you currently tutoring with
Yeah,
jumpAgrade as
still
well?
tutoring because I was kind of zoning off because obviously with the right masters I was toning down, but I was left. Obviously, the evening starts would have left in the middle of May when the announcement was made, and I had one junior cycle left, so I just take it until this week because we'll be finishing up. Because junior
Okay.
cycle aren't allowed to continue on after Friday. Their cut-off point is now for their grade in school because they're being graded different to the senior cycle.
Okay, fair enough. But you are still on the
He's still
jumpAgrade.
continuing on. I've still got one ticking along until he finishes up this Friday or whatever it is.
Okay. Fair enough. So I'm just going to move on to the next section of question, which is just general technology questions. So are you comfortable with technology? What's your kind of overall relationship like with technology? Can you think of the products you use? What sort of how comfortable basically are you with technology, I guess?
Like that. It wouldn't be kind of say prolific as some other technology or like those tech graph teachers so on because they were using it consistently. Like even in science, I wouldn't need to use it because I'd be doing a lot more hands-on practical. So using a computer would only be at home. So even with Zoom, I'd say I'd be middle of the road, like and knows, I didn't know I could do that, could do that. Because always someone kind of ahead, say a step or two ahead of me before I'd get onto it. Like what I'd be most used to is obviously emails, words, and when it comes to formatting documents, it's fine. But say something like Zoom or Google Classroom, I wouldn't have a clue because we wouldn't use Google Classroom where some others have and they would use and I said wouldn't. I would kind of stick to what would be needed as is at times because
Yes.
I'm used to kind of face-to-face interactions like that. So
Okay.
the
And
middle of the road. Yeah.
and we'll say, for example, if your school did end up having to adapt to Google Classroom, would you like when you know you have to adapt to a new software or technology or change or something like that? Do you find that hard at the start, or do you kind of just keep going on with it? Do you have to do a bit of learning online, or what's your kind of process when you
Yeah,
know you
because
need to
obviously
learn
now,
something?
because everything's online now, but I would find that I would be probably kind of lag in the beginning, but I would set up within my own department. I've like 7 people in my own department. Half of us would be all right, and the other half can be, it was just kind of obviously collaborate. So that was a big thing. So I'm relying a lot on collaboration. Others from the department would just like, how did you get through this and something like that? I'd rely on others, and then I probably go on and help someone else. It's kind of like pass the part. Like then someone
Yes.
teach me, I teach someone else department. That's what seems the way we go.
Okay, fair enough.
Learning as we go ahead, as we go along.
Okay, great. And currently, with what you do use in terms of technology, what websites and apps do you find that you actually use the most, both from a teaching perspective and just personally or whatever?
See, what I'm kind of used to would be Microsoft Teams. I have Outlook obviously there, so I would go through Microsoft Teams a lot. I'm used to that. Uh, I would stick to Teams, calling, video, and through that before I got used to Zoom. Obviously, just regular like email and but things. There's other kind of apps and like OneNote I wouldn't go near because it was too complicated to use OneNote. The kids were finding it awful awkward. I said no, avoiding that. Uh, Obviously now Zoom seems to be more straightforward because I can record the conversations and I can transcribe it because obviously I'm using that for master as well, interviewing, so I can transcribe it fine. Like there, and I would have used it probably last year before with the master as well when I was interviewing principals.
Yes.
That sense, but I would kind of stick rigid. I wouldn't be going off investigating different apps for sake of I just need what do I need for this. There's 2 or 3, which is the best. I go by ratings and so on, and what majority uses and so on. Most schools are using Zoom, so yeah, I'd focus on that. So try to narrow down specifically rather than having a whole range there, and then if something changed kind of quickly. Next thing,
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, that comprehensively kind of covers that small section. So the next section of questions is just about your relationship with the jumpAgrade platform. So just quite simply, what are your overall thoughts and feelings about jumpAgrade in general? What's your opinion on it, basically?
right there, it would be grand specific if I was when I was mainstream teaching. It was like fine, they're getting on with used to a. So when they used to come in on Sunday evening, kind of ticking along with it because I can nearly not remember the old system before I started doing all the video and all of that. I can't remember how we did it there, like, but it was kind of uploading the worksheet, whatever it is, uploading it back, and then could probably getting used to because I have Google Drive, but our school isn't a Google school, so it's getting used to that again. But the videos uploading to Google Drive, so getting used to that again, and trying to get used to Wi-Fi. You have to have the Wi-Fi when you're uploading a video as well. So that was kind of a pain in the backside. So if I was in school, I couldn't use, say, for instance, there was no Wi-Fi. So if I had a free class or something, oh, I'll get the jumpAgrade done then. I actually have an hour off then. So if I didn't until I get the Wi-Fi, I couldn't upload the videos and things. So I couldn't upload anything onto the platform. So I had to wait until that evening, go back home. So kind of things more like connections there is kind of was kind of a painful at the time. We're getting used to the format, and when we did the video, and then it went the link uploaded to Google Drive, so it had to be the Wi-Fi. So it's all internet connections, basically, whatever woes I did have.
Okay, fair enough.
At the time, and probably depending on the subjects, well, because I would have had 3 subjects, and it's correcting with the current format. So when I get the feedback, chemistry seems to be more straightforward. It's easy to give feedback. It's easy to scan it and then do it that fit in well with there. It probably fits in well with, let's say, like language subjects and so on. But things like science, where there's so many little bits and pieces, as going over and back, it'd be kind of like more tedious that way. But some even sort of chemistry, where a question is one theme, it seems to be easy. It's kind of more efficient to get through. Biology would have been kind of tough enough as well, because I tried to have templates, like, going through the mark scheme and so on, and because biology would be a long question, but with so many different sections to it, it would be very time consuming in that sense. But the chemistry was all right with the structure of how it was done.
Okay.
For time and that.
Fair enough. And how long have you actually been tutoring with jumpAgrade?
As I say, from the beginning, when I was kind of setting up, because there was a chunk of a year when I was starting the master's 2.5 years, where there's a chunk, a few months, like a term I wasn't, but from the very beginning. So it could have been, if it was 3 years ago, it would have been then.
3 years
very
ago,
close to the whatever when the set up, I mightn't have been the first tutor, but I would have been one of the first at the time.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. And how many students do you tutor for? So before, obviously, that the Leaving Cert was cancelled, how many typically were you tutoring for at the time?
At the time, it would have been 8, and that would have been 8 or 9 would have been a mixture. I would have had equal numbers of, say, the science, and there's biology and chemistry. It was going to split that way.
Okay, fair enough. And
the maximum I would have had would have been 1 week would have been 10, like that, when I had free time, and then say my student might just kind of drop off or something, or they might go over to another subject or something. But the most would have been 10, but an average would have been 8 during when we're all face to face in school, like as far as the mocks, like.
Okay, we'll say with an average of 8. So, can you think how roughly could you put a number on how many hours in a week that would take up for you between both creating worksheets and providing feedback? Like how many hours in the week typically would jumpAgrade have taken you with 8 students?
Yeah, I would give it an average of an hour, because say one of the, like, chemistry would be quicker, but then something like biology, if you're given X amount of questions and then there are different topics, and then if there were so many little kind of mistakes when you're going through the video guide, it will take, say, doing the video and then editing and so on, and then uploading it. It would take time, and then trying to go back and see, right, what's the next topic they're going to do, and then the kind of cut and paste and then kind of setting up. And once you're kind of formatting, it's fine. It's just getting from the last on the next worksheet. That would take up a good couple of minutes, but an average of an hour, I know, so 8 hours would take for 8 worksheets.
Okay, sense. Fair enough. And how difficult or easy do you find creating worksheets?
Yeah, it would be by subject. So chemistry is more straightforward. It's more kind of like maths. Yes, no, yes, no. It's not too much quantity, so it's not okay. But something very subjective like biology was yes, no, and there's so many different parts, multiple questions, and then trying to find my template that I would use, that would be a little bit more complicated. Like, so that would take up more time. Or say junior cycle science, which would be mixtures of different things, like different themes going on.
And from the technical kind of perspective of creating a worksheet, in the word processing document, like, is there anything that you kind of find difficult about that? What's your kind of process in creating a worksheet like that?
Yeah, that's fine. There's no issues. Obviously, because I would use Word a lot from course and things in teaching, and that's would be fine. Then it's all the issues to say, for instance. So if it was once the video uploads up to Google Drive, gets shared, link, put it back, all of that's fine. And then uploading to the platform, the worksheets, the feed, that's fine. So when it comes to form and like that, so it's just getting from the video to the Google Drive. That's it. Or did it go up or not? And I have to go back and check, and that kind of time frame waiting for Wi-Fi or something to kick up.
Okay, so you find more you find more of an issue with the video feedback side of things. With
It's kind of, that's really the section that would be kind of time consuming and internet. And if I had free time, something happens, then if you don't have it, then you can't do it until, say, if I was at home in Wexford and something got cut, I could be waiting, oh sure, there's no Wi-Fi until tomorrow, so I wouldn't be able to do it until the following day. But normally when the feedback comes back in, I try to get onto it ASAP, like, because I know in case something happens, or it could be, oh, I'm going to be 9 to 6 in school and I won't be able to get it done Monday or Tuesday and have to get it done on a Sunday, like, or something.
yes,
So yeah, formatting is
okay.
fine.
And when you're providing the feedback, what tools are you actually using? Like, what are you using? Your mobile phone? Are you using your laptop? Are you using a tablet? What exactly are
This
you
would be,
using?
I'd use kind of like laptop because I've everything kind of downloaded their apps and all sorts of yokes for obviously for teaching and the maths. I'm not using all off the same device there, but I'd say when it comes to video, I'd use the phone for that sense, because there's too much going on at the time at the beginning with the teaching, the remote teaching, trying to screencast this, that, and the other, and that. It's like it wasn't working. I said, nah, can't do it. Like not working.
Okay.
So I'd use it. The video would work fine on the phone there, and the sound is fine. Okay, that was fine because I could upload it straight away because my Google account it's all drives ready on the phone waiting. So have the screen there, start kind of video going through the worksheet, and bang, upload it straight away
Fair
from
enough.
the video and but type everything on the laptop. Like.
Okay, yeah, great. And okay, and what kind of do you like about using jumpAgrade as a system, as a platform?
So what's grand about it is that it's at least it's sort of very objective, and that's like, you know, keeping on top of things. I'm used to the state examiner, I correct things and so on, and getting sure that's fine. You're seeing different students from different abilities, that's fine. It's out of the 8 of them, say for instance 4 of them are biology, they're all different topics. Keeping on top of things, obviously myself, I haven't taught that in about a year, so keeps you on top of the topics and being able to give like different types of like feedback as well, because a big thing now in education is the different types of feedback, formative feedback and so on.
Yes.
You can have a good thing to test out there, like, so I can just bring it back to my own teaching as well.
Okay, fair enough. And what did you kind of find interesting or surprising when you first started using jumpAgrade? And just kind of a follow on from that, because I know you've been with jumpAgrade pretty much from the start. Can you think did you find challenging when they updated the platform then to the video feedback with, you know, the Google Drive? So that's 2 questions there. But first of all, what did you kind of find interesting or surprising when you first started using jumpAgrade?
It's probably kind of different because, like, so all these online platforms normally, like, you know, going through grinds, whatever it is, all have different kind of objectives. Whereas kind of jumpAgrade's got different. It's like kind of an add-on to, say, like revision. So a teacher in 6th year could be off doing something her own kind of way, and then this child is coming here, looking for something. Oh, here, would you do this revision in 5th year, like that? It's kind of like a kind of a backup in their own time, because that was finding interesting because it's kind of done in their own time. There's a certain time frame, and they do it in whatever Wednesday to the Sunday, like that. I mean, it's kind of a backup ticking along. It's kind of like a good revision aid, like keeping on top of things while the teacher is going on. It's kind of like sustainable learning in that sense. The teacher's doing their 6th year things, the kids is revising their 5th year topics, so on, with jumpAgrade. So they're kind of, it's kind of like that add-on to the teaching learning where the kid is going on learning more and more as they're going on, but they're keeping on top of things like from the previous year, like, so kind of
Yes.
maintaining their ability like there. So that was the kind of different jumpAgrade would be to, say, Skullnet.ie or whatever these online grades or whatever these different companies, Irish companies, through the books that they publish, like the things that they offer, would be unique
Yes.
to the others. Yeah.
Okay, and when they actually updated the platform and changed how it worked, did you find that a bit of a challenge to get used to at the start, or?
It's at the beginning, yeah, because I remember at the beginning, because I was on to Zan a lot, I think within the first 3 or 4 weeks, I was just getting used to it, because I couldn't remember until I got used to the platform. I think they were just sending to me through the app itself, and then eventually just kind of took a week or 2 or 3, and some things would upload fine. That was it. It was just kind of, it was very much ripple effect. It took first week, I made some progress, second week, third, but the 4th week I was just all up and running. All 8 were coming into me fine, a certain time, yeah, correct, and that's fine. It just kind of ripple effect, but it was
Okay.
fine eventually. But by the beginning of October, everything's running smoothly.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And why did you kind of initially sign up to tutor with jumpAgrade? Kind of how did you hear about them, and what made you decide to actually sign up for them, I guess?
think I was headhunted or something, because I think I had I can't remember, was it on LinkedIn or something, and because I wrote a few revision book for Ag Science and Chemistry, something like years before they changed courses, and I think it could have been on LinkedIn or something that I had like different things that I've done. Oh, I'm a state examiner, whatever it was, and different things I've done with junior cycle training, and I think that would kind of highlight it or something. Just, whatever way that LinkedIn works in, that kind of popped up on. I think it was a Days page. I can't remember, like, but that popped up, and then I had contact details and email or something, and then it was, I think I got a phone call from or something like that when I was on a treadmill one day. I was like, "What? Who's this number ringing from Limerick or something?"
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then got hold of that. Would you test it out, like, to get one worksheet? I was going, "Oh, that looks fine," and then started with one person student, and then got built up to 2, 3, 4, and then at the
Yes.
time in the old system.
Okay, fair enough. Um, and what is kind of your main objective then when you're tutoring for a student, can you think?
The one thing is formative feedback. It's one thing that teacher on consistently now is when teacher does whatever type work it is, whether it's a test classroom, whatever it is whatever type, there's different types of feedback. And when a student uploads a worksheet that I correct in whatever way, obviously with, I'm thinking is smart, blah, 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 is what's said back in the video, like what's said, the formative feedback, like whether it's 2 stars in Wish or your 3-2-1, whatever version.
Hello?
That feedback if the kid's not making, because I often, even the odd child in jump grade, I still see them make the same mistakes. Like one of the things their own teacher says, and I would eventually get wind of it, is like maybe sometimes they're too concise, because I know science isn't a subject you go off and completely different tangents, and it's been writing reams and reams about their teacher saying, "Oh, I need to expand on that," and I'd be saying that could be 2 or 3 times, and I would have said it there in the, say, the feedback. So my thing would be, my specific thing is feedback. So
Yes.
the child uploads the answer, I corrected, there's feedback. I said this, and 3 points. Take it back, incorporate into your next worksheet, and see how to improve. Like there,
Okay.
so taking feedback on board, like
Okay, fair enough. So
the more
continual
kind of
improvement
written,
through feedback is,
informative feedback.
yeah.
Yeah. So formative feedback is the 2 words, key words.
Okay, that's great. And okay, so what is kind of the main reason why you've continued working with jumpAgrade until now? You've been with them for quite a long time. Is there any one particular
Yeah.
reason why you can think of?
So sometimes, for instance, like what was a good thing is, say, I was there's timetable constraints. Say I wasn't teaching biology one year, so if I still had the students, like, with the jumpAgrade with, say, biology, at least I was still able to keep on top of that. I was still kind of tutoring through biology, like keep going top of the course there. So if I didn't have a certain subject behind it, at least I would keep on top of my head, because I know with me, if I didn't teach a subject for 5 or 6 years, don't want to go near it again. Like, same lanes, because I don't teach that anymore. So that's why I wouldn't take on any more ag science. It's like, now I'm too out of course. The course has changed. No, not interested. So at least with that, if I don't have biology, I don't have biology next year. So at least I know, right, if I do biology, it keeps in the office. Like
Yes. Okay,
that's
fair enough.
kind of thing. So keeping on top of your subjects, like that you're
So
qualified for, and you're
you almost kind of find it just as a useful tool for yourself as well to keep on top of
you're
your.
tough. Just keep an eye on state exams, see what's going, and see, being a state examiner, I would actually, when we're going to conferences, you get to meet the examiner, you get to know what they're like, and then keeping on top of the exams. Like, even though, say, I didn't teach biology, I would know the examiner, new examiner, and keeping and seeing how the examiner students as well. It's gonna, and from that point of view, like keeping on top of it, because I
Yes.
would be into assessment as well. It would be one of the things I'd be into.
Interesting. That's quite an interesting perspective, actually. Okay, and if you were to kind of recommend to another teacher to join jumpAgrade, what is the unique selling point? What would you be telling them?
So one of the big things is kind of flexibility. Uh, 2 would be, say, for instance, like for me, it was, if I'm not teaching a certain subject that you're qualified for, just keep on top of it that way. Like, and you are getting, say, for instance, in our school, we have potluck. Like, you have half the class that are bringing another half class, you're trying to pull things, it's trying to get blood out of a stone type of thing. So you're dealing with students that kind of like want to, kind of succeed, and that's what they're there for. Like, it can be a bit of a positive motivation in that sense. Like, you're dealing with students that will submit, you're getting students that you see their progress, because you would have all their feedbacks saved. Like, there, you're actually making, you see the difference you're making there, and then hopefully you can maybe adapt to your own teaching. Like, the way
Yes.
that you save the documents, the way that you give the feedback there, they can be brought back in your own teaching as well. So it'd be
Okay, fair
kind of
enough.
motivation factor. You're working with kids that want to learn, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So like a big part of it is that it's motivating to see you're actually working with students that, like you said, do want to learn and put the effort in.
Like that, yeah. And they're all, even at that, like they're all different abilities as well. Like you could have the H1s, the H5s, whatever it is. Again, you're dealing with the abilities, whatever ability they're at. But there's
Yes.
just that the kids that are coming in, they're staying positive with it and they're keeping at it. They're sustaining it. That was a big thing.
Okay.
Sustainability is a big area.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so Jonathan, we just have one more section worth of questions just to go through, and these are the pain points. So, what do you dislike about using jumpAgrade?
It could be, as I would have said, like looking back in conversations with Susanna, like would be the wife kind of issues there with the videos and things. And so I don't know whether if they're even using it or not. Like, you know, sometimes the video it may only be a minute or two, some could be 5 or 6 minutes long. That's fine. It's just like trying to find a perfect kind of feedback template, because it works all right with chemistry, but it doesn't work very well with science, biology. Trying to find something that's more efficient. I could have, say, for instance, I have 10 worksheets on whatever's like the 5 biology like there, and just trying to be efficient with time, management of the data and information, and then time, because that comes in Sunday, your worksheet, and then you get Monday, and then if you're a teacher that's working 9 to 4 straight Monday and Tuesday, and you're okay for the rest of the week, but then that's gonna, you're under pressure to get it done there. It's gonna, things like time frames would be the big pressure, kind of like panicking there like that, or if there's late submission but they do get it in, say for instance I have half them correct by Sunday night, that's fine, and you get the rest of them on Monday. So see, I would have been on full time on a Monday, and
Yes.
then there was like something on a Tuesday, like, oh Jesus, trying to get on top of it, try to get back in for Tuesday, even for Wednesday submission, like, to be put, the next worksheet to be put up. It's kind of time frame, like the kids, like it'd be nice if the kids were able to submit by a certain time and they all came in together, bang, that type of thing. So it's probably pressure with time when the kids are trying this in.
Okay.
Like
And
their bulk, I know it's kind of a daunting bulk, but
yes.
yeah,
And okay, so you say that you would like some sort of perfect template.
it's
Is
kind of
that
like, yeah, something like a kind of a template or something. I know it's kind of interactive like there, because I know it probably would work best with the likes of, say, English, Irish, German, whatever it is, where there's kind of longer topics like essays, where you have certain things, if they had an aside, and another thing that we do now in teaching the last couple of years, have the success criteria. Have hit off that, yeah, tick that, yeah. That means if they fit all of that, then it's something kind of like drop down types of things. Like, you know, if I had an interactive kind of feedback worksheet, yeah, they hit off that, they've hit off that, yeah, perfect. That should warrant close to full marks. So. Knows where
okay?
every worksheet will be different, there's different feedbacks, and there's different questions for this worksheet, even though it's the same subject. It's just having a kind of a standard way, because in, say, teaching, there's one this kind of formative feedback, even if it is like just 2 stars, which 2 kind of like main good points that the kids are getting back from their essay, and then kind of one thing they have to work on, like there, have something like that's bang, there's one thing you could focus on that inspectors are looking for the whole time, the
Yes.
feedback thing. And if it's all kind of different, like when there's no kind of standard, like it's not standardized, it's a bit of a pain
Okay. And
in
is
that
that
sense.
something that you think can be solved on the jump grade side, or is that something that you as a teacher need to come up with a perfect?
It could be something. It could be something like where you'd have a group of tutors on jumpAgrade. Just sometimes a big thing is collaboration. Like, you know, if something was put up and said, right, is any couple of teachers there that have no sent from inspections, or have no sent from online or training, like, because I joined up with the junior cycle teachers associate, I'd be going around teaching schools and certain things, but if they could just come up like, how do you give feedback on that, how do you give feedback on that, is there a template we can make up that could be used for this subject, for that subject, and so on. Because I know it's probably more straightforward English and Irish, like when something's essay, they're long questions, you may only submit one long essay, and that's okay, it might be more straightforward. But for something like biology, where you could have multiple topics in one thing, it's very hard to give them specific feedback and that's,
Yes.
yeah, try to logger the heads together and just see, is there something that we could come up and that could be used, and that could be, because the course isn't going to be changed in another couple of years, it'd be embedded into the worksheets, you know, the feedback templates, and then, you know, it's kind of like set up, or
Okay.
whatever it is. Something next topic is something that we haven't really investigated in teaching and learning yet either, like there. So we're still at the infancy of giving effective feedback back to kids in our own classrooms.
Yes. Okay. And is there anything that you've tried yourself as a bit of a workaround or as a solution to this problem yourself, or is it
I
just kind
think
of general communication
what
mainly?
I would sometimes, yeah, what I do is kind of like a 3-2-1 like kind of a thing. Is where, say, if I'm teaching like between one class, I kind of three things that they learn from that particular lesson themselves. Like, so if it was jumpAgrade, like if I was giving them something, let's say on, say if it was ecology, something like there, like, right, I'd get the child to give like 3 things that they have learned from this topic from answering my questions, 2 things they spotted themselves from that, and then they would one would be one question that they still have for me that I have to kind of answer for them. So it's kind of, they're kind of conversing with me, but I'm not conversing, and it kind of links up the first lesson with the next one as well. It's
Yes.
that kind of continuous assessment. The 3-2-1 is, so the 3 things I've learned to come from them, from, say, if that was worksheet 1 was ecology, 3 things I learned from this worksheet. Okay, it's like their reflection. That's a big thing, right? I learned, this, I know all the definitions for habitat, whatever it is, blah blah blah. 2, 3, and then the 2 things I found interesting, or the 2 things I spotted, or 2 things that were kind of issue. Okay, I'm not good with habitat study, I'm not good at this, or whatever it is. And then the one question they still have, and then they give that back to me. I'd answer that question for the next worksheet then, or something.
Yes.
There, the 3-2-1.
Yeah, fair enough. And just lastly, what do you kind of think? I know other than you just kind of said, but is there anything else that you could think would improve jumpAgrade?
Like there, so it'd be something I'd be thinking like over the kind of summer. It's going to take time, because I'm trying to think, because with the big gap at the beginning, it's like how I did it at the beginning, and then obviously with the gap I was waiting and coming back, like with the online things and then the Wi-Fi and all that, it's an easier kind of like way to give feedback. I think, remember, Dave, when I met him face to face in UL, like, is there kind of a template that you could put up? I said, well, that would work well for maybe maths, or it could work well for Irish, but would that work for every subject? Because there's not going to be one kind of way of making something interactive. It's not going to work for every subject and every level at every cycle. There's junior cycle, senior cycle, like there. So to get, you would need to find teachers in specific subjects doing it for their subject kind of thing, and having a team kind of like set up. There's like, how is it going to work well for us here in jumpAgrade, like for, say, like Irish or English there? Because like my opinions will probably only work for like the sciences, like science, biology, chemistry, physics, whatever it is, the way that I would give feedback, but it may not work well for, say, French or something else.
Okay.
Like, you see, their subject domains would play a big thing, how they give feedback.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. So there's just no one size
There's
fits
no,
all model in this, and
it's kind of the only kind of 2 stars, and Wish kind of recommends 2 things that perfect in this kind of thing, and 1 thing that you're going to work on. That's kind of one thing that's kind of static, and the 3-2-1 kind of thing could work with anything that's very subjective. So the likes of, say, like English, it would work well in business studies, something like that. It would work well with those subjects, work well with biology, so and so. It would work with chemistry as well, especially because there's a lot of equations and maths in it as well. It could be, but, and then the actual templates, like, if something interactive, like question 1A, tick, 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 like MCQ things, online exams that you be doing, like there, but sure, that requires like capital investment as well. Like, and
yes.
again, it might work for science, that we might conquer that, but it may not work for the Irish platform.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah,
Okay.
that's great. That's the end of my questions for you today, Jonathan. Thank you for your insights. They were very interesting and hopefully quite actionable for me. I still have a number of teachers to interview, and after that, I'll be transcribing and going through the data with the team back at jumpAgrade. Hopefully, we can make some suggestions on how we can maybe improve the platform going forward. So,
Like,
just want to
yeah,
thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.
that's perfect. Cheers. Thanks a minute.
No problem.